You're listening to BBC Upload, and I'm Hannah, here with you until 8. And yeah, we're bringing you the best of brand new spoken word, comedy and poetry this evening. And I just wondered if you're a fan of shows like this.
The game is afoot.
Oh yeah, Sherlock Holmes. Well, uploader and writer Bob Lever, and read by Laurie, by the way. This piece was inspired by Sherlock Holmes and Hound of the Baskervilles, and he's called this a parody, but I really think it's a piece in itself. And it's read by Laurie.
Ewan Barr was in his late 50s when he first met, then shortly thereafter married Moira Stewarts, who was 10 years his senior. It was a first marriage for the pair of them, and as such, formed the loveless alliance of two empty hearts with one conjoined and twisted mind. Know then that, upon release, a family inheritance allowed them to live together, albeit frugally, as recluses, occupying only the ground floor of a large, ramshackle country house, situated on the very edge of a barren and deserted moor in deepest North Yorkshire. They eschewed all further human contact in favour of their beloved menagerie of animals, being of that breed of animal lover who are, in turn, people haters, and the local village folk quickly resolved to leave them well alone to their own mysterious devices. Even the Reverend of the parish resolved not to call upon the household, having previously approached only to hastily retreat under threat of physical attack. The postman was fortunate to be able to leave such mail as arrived in the postbox that stood by the gated entrance to the property. Even so, the nearest he ever came into contact with the inhabitants was a fleeting shadow flickering upon the ever-shuttered window blind. Sufficient money and a list for the next delivery would miraculously materialise in an old enamelled bread bin that stood on the front porch, alongside which Dimwitty would stack their fortnightly order in crates, but never linger long enough to see the inhabitants collect the delivery. Still, was the loud lament of some gigantic, baying hound from within the abode that would accompany his approach and subsequent retreat, and how he had lived in fear of the beast getting out one day, and then Jove only knew what would have appertained. "If I don't come back," he'd told said boss, the grocer, ominously before setting out, "you'd best be searching for bones."
It's when he says there's a house in North Yorkshire that you really start to go, oh, okay, I can envision this now. How amazing is that piece, though? Read by Laurie and written by Bob Lever from Sheffield. Anyway, you're listening to BBC Upload. I'm Hannah, here with you until 8. And I don't know about you, but I just love a mystery TV show or play or cinema. It's kind of one of those things where if the show can keep me guessing the whole time, I just love it. The best series has got to be Sherlock Holmes, particularly the Benedict Cumberbatch one with Martin Freeman in. I feel like at the time, everybody was watching it, and it was just something to talk about, which was just so nice. Well, uploader Bob Lever loves this style of writing and stories, so he wrote a parody of The Hound of the Baskervilles, but to be honest, he took some inspiration from Sherlock Holmes, and I don't think it's a parody. I think it's too good. Anyway, I chatted to Bob a little bit earlier.
It came about basically because I've been writing for a while now, sort of like these affectionate parodies of Edwardian and Victorian tales of supernatural and detective fiction, which I've been putting out on YouTube, which have been quite popular. And I absolutely love I think if you said which two books do you love most in the world, one's A Christmas Carol and the other one is The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh, lovely.
And I've written parodies of both. And they're both on my channel. So one's called A Christmas Hornpipe. What
is it about these more spooky stories or Victorian era that draws you and compels you to write about them?
I love them. I've always just naturally been drawn, I think, towards Victorian short stories. There were a lot of them written, and they translate really well to the spoken word. They're so full of imagination, and they draw people in, and they're like fairy tales for adults, I think.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And you're so right. It has a very fireside chats kind of feel to it.
Absolutely. I
think, yeah, the genre really lends itself to being acted out and spoken, as you say. I really enjoyed the recording that you made.
Thank you very much.
Talk me through a bit about that and how you recorded it and who you recorded it with.
Well, basically, during lockdown. It was COVID that made me set up the YouTube channels, because I was stumped for being able to do for a creative output. Really, people couldn't meet, and people couldn't go to the theatre and do all the things that they'd been doing previously. So I'd wanted to work with Laurie Nelson, the actor-director, because he's great. And we've been chums for a while and been involved in various projects together. And I just thought this would be an ideal vehicle for him, because he's got such a great mimic. I think he's got 4 very distinct voices in this story: the narrator's voice, and then 3 main characters that he voices. And it's just charming, really. I just think he's a very talented guy.
So in depth and long as well. So I just wondered, if from start to finish, how long something like that takes you? A lot of dedication and love poured into that, surely.
Well, with this one, yes, definitely. With the Hound, there's a lot of time and energy, really. But some actually do come very quickly. If I get inspired, I can generate one over the course of a weekend. The length of these stories can be anything between 15 minutes and 45.
Wow.
But that's the length that, the traditional, the real sort of Victorian Edwardian writers wrote. If you read them out, that's about the length they are anyway. So, and longer, actually. I mean, there are ones that are longer. I mean, certainly some of the Sherlock Holmes ones are over an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So the short stories, those were an inspiration as well.
What a lovely, lovely guy. I really like chatting to Bob.